you're never gonna get anywhere unless you try. It's literally all about just like trying your best, putting yourself out there, and just like, yeah, like work hard and you'll see results.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 116 of the COD Casuals podcast. We're your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
Justin, how are we today, my friend?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Good day. A little dreary over the weekend.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Totally disastrous.
Yeah. New England weather wasn't so good.
This is weird for us, too, because usually when we do the episodes, we do them just once a week.
Mhm.
Now we're doing like a back-to-back one.
Yeah.
It does feel a bit odd.
We can explain later.
You know? Yeah, we'll leave that at the end.
Yeah.
So you guys stick around to the very end of the 5-hour episode that we're about to do here. Because, we're in a different room, and we have another guest. We have a very special guest today. Justin, please introduce this lovely guest that we have.
Yeah. So today we have a very special guest. We have a member of Oxygen Esports, or OXG, for people who don't know what OXG is. It's New England's premier esports league. And they participate in Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, Rocket League, Valorant, and of course our favorite, the Call of Duty League, as a Boston Breach. She's an influencer marketing manager for OXG. Let's welcome Samantha Kirk.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
How are we? I claps for myself.
Good.
Is that
Good.
normal?
No, that's totally normal.
Yeah.
Do it. Why not? Yeah. So,
Thanks for having me.
of course,
Yeah.
it's our pleasure. You know, again, we've been making the rounds with the members of the Breach.
Yeah, there you go.
And we've wanted to have you on for a while. So it's great to finally lock you
I'm
down.
third, right? I'm only third. Dens,
Third.
Yeah.
Tyler.
third. Yeah.
Wow, so that's pretty up close to the top.
Yeah, that is close to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For like VIP people that
Yeah.
we want to get, you
That's
know.
me.
Yeah.
And Dens and T-Dog. Not as important.
No,
No,
not
no.
as important. You can go tell them that.
Yeah. I will. Well, not today. Dens just got engaged, but T-Dog.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How's everything going?
Things are going so great. Yeah. Busy,
Yeah.
busy as always. No, they're going good. Very
good.
good. Yeah. Busy Monday.
Mhm.
And the dreary weather is getting to me too. I was driving here today and it felt like it was 5 p.m.
Yeah, and her commute's pretty long too. It was
That's true.
a
Living
2-hour
in good old
commute.
New Hampshire. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 hour, 2.5 with traffic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I sped down here today because I came at a random time and there was no traffic, which was nice.
Mhm.
Just dark skies and the wind. Did you drive in the
Oh.
wind today?
I did not. No, it wasn't too bad.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
my car like will move, and I have a
Yeah.
big car.
Mhm.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
What car do you drive?
Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is a big
Yeah, that's
car.
a big
Yeah,
one.
that is a
Yeah.
tank. Yeah.
That's a tank right there.
Yeah, and it's old, so you know.
No, it's weird though. Like when I was driving here, I think I went through like 4 or 5 different shades of the weather. Like it was,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
dreary. It started raining a little bit.
Yep.
Like when I left Lowell, it was pouring rain.
Yeah.
Like bucketing
Mhm.
for no reason.
Yeah.
And then I drive 10 minutes out of there, beautiful sunny sky.
Yep.
Then it's getting gray. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
You know?
And the clouds were like moving fast. Have you ever
Yeah.
noticed
Oh,
that?
yeah,
before?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
going
yeah,
on?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a horror movie.
Scary,
flow.
yeah.
Yeah.
But kind of fun.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, then coming here, and then all of a sudden it's like the heavens open up and it's
Sunny.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was sunny here the entire day.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. At least by my house it was.
Yeah. I just find that so funny how you could only be like, 50 miles from me.
Yeah.
And the weather could
Yeah.
be completely different.
Yeah.
Well, one time I was here and I had woken up in a town nearby. So I like came in from here in Massachusetts and it was like just raining and like not too cold. And my boyfriend called me and was like, hey, like, I don't know how long you're planning to stay there, but like you should probably come home because the roads are getting really bad. And my one of my bosses, Danny, was like, oh yeah, like take off early, like you like make sure you get home safe. And I kid you not, I like got through Boston, just rain. The second I hit like the Seabrook, New Hampshire line, feet, like several feet of snow.
Really?
Feet? Is that several
Yeah.
feet? Yeah.
Several.
Yeah.
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Sounds
foot.
weird.
Not
Doesn't
several
that
foot.
sound weird?
Yeah.
Several
feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like it was the most dangerous I've ever driven in. Like it was horrifying. I'm not even kidding. Like 30 on the road the entire way. But like that's only 2 hours away. Like it was so weird.
Yeah.
Very scary.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Weather.
I hate it. I hate it. It pisses
Freak.
us off. Our fans know all about it, bro.
I know. We're like
You talk about it a lot?
all the time.
you're
All the time.
There you
I was gonna say if this doesn't pan out, we've got a meteorologist.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, for people who don't know who you are,
Yes.
so who is Samantha Kirk?
So I'm the influencer marketing manager for The Breach, The Uprising, and OXG. So all of those titles. And at OXG, I like manage all of our influencer relations. So like if anybody needs anything from the influencers, if we're planning something fun for them, I spearhead all of that. And then of course like our onboarding. So when we're bringing a creator on, I do a lot of that. But in real life, I come from an education background. So I went to school to be a teacher, graduated with my teaching degree, taught children's theater before I ever got into esports. And then on the side, did gaming as a hobby and got a Facebook deal through the gaming that I was doing. And then through that deal, met a media agency that represented me to Facebook. They were the creator service provider for Facebook. So they did all of the middleman. If you needed something from Facebook, you went through them. Reached out to them when I was with them, saying essentially like, hey, I've built my brand up. I've run all my own social accounts. Here's all the success I've had. If you're hiring, let me know. And like, I'd love to help you with your socials. And then interviewed with them, got the job, ran their socials, then started doing talent management with them when my Facebook deal ended, because obviously you can't manage Facebook talent while you're Facebook talent. So I've managed like 20 to 30 creators, mainly like Minecraft and other games. But that's how I got into like talent management. And then I got hired here, which is like a whole nother story, which maybe we can get into later. But that's me. So talent manager, influencer manager, works with marketing. I also run socials for OXG, and then come from an education background.
How did you go from being an education major into marketing? Because those are two completely different areas.
Very different. Well, I think like, and I say this to anybody that like wants to get involved in esports, like it's all about building yourself up. Like you can go to school for marketing, but if you know nothing about the esports industry, you're going into it with the same experience essentially as like somebody that studied science and but wants to be in esports, right? Like esports is its own entity and it's like a completely different industry from everything else. So essentially the experience I had to market for esports was the experience I created by marketing my own brand and like becoming a creator. And obviously I don't do that anymore. I didn't really love it after a while, but that's how I got all my marketing experience.
And do you think,
makes sense?
Yeah. Do you think your education background helped you in esports scene?
Yeah.
Explain.
So much. Well, with education, my oldest student was 15, which like, is a pity, which is a pretty big gap from like my 30-year-old T-Dog over here, but Gramps, just kidding, T-Dog, sorry. But like, it's all about kind of like, I like to say like I'm their advocate first before I'm like their manager or like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I want them to succeed and that's like what I put all my efforts into. And that's kind of how you go into teaching. I mean, you would know, but like with my students, it was always like I'm putting them first before myself every day and I want them to succeed and you learn kind of their behaviors. And obviously I've studied human behavior and psychology a bunch. But it's like all about kind of relating to and understanding human behavior. So with that, I like listen to my creators. I learn them, how they work, like how they want to succeed, where they see their channel growing and going. And I use that knowledge that I got from teaching to do that. Like managing 30 students and managing 3 creators, like it's less people, but it's on a bigger scale now with the creators. And it all kind of coincides in a weird way.
Yeah, now that I think about it, right, like that's perfect. Yeah. Because at least from my experience, right, like you guys know, a lot of managers just managing anyone,
right? They
don't come from an education background, and obviously being a teacher, you need to have patience. You need to,
but also like caring. You know what I mean? Like I feel like so many I've heard so many horror stories, not really in the gaming industry, but just in like influencer marketing of managers or like agencies that don't care about the creator and are in it for money or in it for like just like building up their connections and not really the creators. And whereas me, it's like, I want to make sure that T-Dog is set up to like achieve everything he wants to achieve, and how can I make that happen for him? And I feel like the like I don't even know the word for it, like personality behind that or like my thoughts behind that come from like the demeanor of being a teacher.
Right. You have like this desire to nurture
right
like them and their careers. You know?
It sounds weird.
I know
but,
when you're saying you're like instead of like for a seventh grader or
right or like
it's now somebody who's 30 who has
30
a house.
yeah
But it's the same
married
yeah that you're just trying to like further along set their career up,
right,
you know,
right,
because I think you know from like because you know you have a manager. I really don't. I mean I have a principal, you know, but like the variety that you can get in a manager
right
for like what they do, they more care about just the task, like did you get the task done, not like how can I set you up to complete the task, but to do more and succeed. Those are like two totally different people, you know?
And I feel like, I mean, I come from a teaching background. I don't know about the rest of the staff here, but I feel like it's very common at Breach and Oxygen in general. Like so many of the people that work here are like that too. And I think that's what makes us all so close. Like my supervisor, Danny, like I can tell like truly wants me to succeed and has taught me so much in like 6 months, more than people I've worked with in the past, like over the course of like 8 years. You know what I mean? And that's really important.
Yeah, that's a great position to be in because me personally, like I've only had good managers, but I've heard horror stories just from like my coworkers and saying like, I'm thinking about leaving this role and I need some advice, and like you should feel comfortable like talking to your manager about that.
Oh my gosh.
And then, you know, the manager like pities them and is like, why would you want to leave? Like this team's great. And it's, you know, you shouldn't be doing that as a manager. If any of you are managers, don't do that. You should be, you know, helping them as much as you can, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to do our best. And if you're a good mentor, a good manager, you're going to be pushing, you know, whoever is under you to do better.
Right.
So you had said about it before, and I'm curious now, from like your whole background that you just gave, and you're, you know, hyping up the Breach about how good it is. How did you inevitably go from that background of like being like in the Facebook marketing and managing, and then eventually getting signed under the Breach?
Yeah. So I knew T-Dog before I started here through Facebook and through the org that he used to be in. It was like the first org he ever joined, Carnage.
What year is this, you thinking?
Probably 2020.
Okay.
Like right during the pandemic. Maybe a little bit before that. No, yeah, probably right around there. And I knew, like, I connected with him through that org, and then we stayed connected because we were both in the Facebook program together. And I fast forward a few months, I see he posted an announcement video for the Breach, and I was like, "What is this?" Like, I didn't know. I wasn't super involved in esports. I'll be honest. Like, I didn't know. I knew the CDL. Obviously, I knew of ALGS, big Apex player, but I didn't like know much. Like, if you asked me how many teams there were, I would have been like 100. Like, I had no clue. You know, not 12. Watched the video. I thought it was super cool. And so then I like went online and I researched the org, and I was like, this is awesome. I'm from Southborough, Mass. So about 30 minutes from Foxborough where Helix is, but like also 35 minutes outside of Boston. And there was nothing that I had heard of ever before that was really like central to Massachusetts and involved gaming and involved creators and involved esports. Like, there was just nothing like it. And I thought it was so cool. So I went on, and they had like a little email for career inquiries. And I just emailed them and was like, hey, I'm working at this company. At the time, it was full-time, but it was so flexible. And I was just so bored. Like, I literally had nothing to do all day, and I just wanted to be more involved. So I emailed them and I was like, hey, I work for this company. Here's my resume. Here's what I've done. Here's my brand and all the brands that I'm currently working for. Would love to get in touch about working in social media for you guys. So I didn't approach it from a talent management standpoint, even though that was what I was doing, because it was still so new to me at the time, and I was really into socials at the time. Got an email back, had a few interviews with Danny and some other people, and yeah, before I know it, I was hired. She went back to me and was like, "You are great with people. Like, I can tell by talking to you. Like, let's try that." And I knew T-Dog, obviously, so he could kind of vouch for like our relationship and our friendship, and that's how I got involved here.
That's so interesting how someone can go from like knowing of esports and just joining New England's biggest esport organization.
They asked too. They were like, "Oh, like what's your favorite esports team other than the Breach?" And I was like, "Optic." Like I didn't know any others. Like I knew Optic, I knew FaZe and Thieves, obviously, but like I wasn't super well equipped. But now, like my answer would be different.
Yeah.
I think that's good though.
That sounds bad. That sounds like I'm an opticator. No, that's not true.
No.
Love optic.
No.
Well, but no, like now I obviously know so much more. That's what I'm saying.
I think that brings like a really good perspective because a lot of people in this space, in the esports space, they want to go into, esports in general.
Yeah.
But they're coming out from like an approach as a fan instead of like an actual employee.
Right.
So I think it's good that you didn't really know much about the space coming in because you bring a whole new perspective of how to market this to new people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's too, like what you were saying about your background in education too. Like that's just another part of it. Like it brings some other stance on how to actually do your job.
Right.
And again, I think sometimes when you're in the circle so much of esports or whatever it is, your judgment kind of gets clouded.
Yeah, it can be biased for sure. Like I feel like I have a totally unbiased view, and I think that's what kind of helps too, because the audience that I've always been familiar reaching is a content creation audience, an entertainment audience. It was never competitive, and it was never it was never really esports. So now that I'm here, like I can really help give a take on like, okay, yes, this might reach competitors, but how could we market this to reach entertainers and creators and fans of those creators and entertainers, and not just fans of competitors? Because we have awesome titles that we compete in, but we also have some awesome creators that can entertain you, or we can take the content from those competitors and make it into something entertaining, or they can make it into something entertaining. And it's important to figure out how that can reach a certain audience too, because there's multiple audiences.
Yeah. No, I mean, we say that all the time. There's the people who will follow like certain content creators, and it's not always about how good you are. It's just how you are as a personality.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for example, we were talking about Optic. Like, there's certain people that'll watch Scump play. I mean, he's a rarity because he's good, but he's also entertaining.
He is a rarity.
Yeah, he's a super freak. But there's like... Do you know what I mean by that?
Super freak.
In a good way. In a good way.
Like you never.
Yeah. No, I call everybody freaks. So.
Yeah. No, he's a freak. he's like
freak.
he could do both.
Oh
like,
yeah.
How many people?
And
can
that's
do that?
rare to find.
Exactly.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mean no shade at Scump.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe you just called him a freak. That's like really messed up.
Freak of nature.
Thank you.
Freak of nature.
Super freak.
He's a. But say somebody like I don't know, like on FaZe, like Salium. Right, that guy's a really good player, and people would want to watch him just because he's so good.
Right.
Yeah. But the personality part, that's not really his like main thing.
Right.
It's just how good he is. And there's two totally different people.
Yeah.
Like for myself, I'd rather watch someone who's entertaining.
Right.
Just because they're funny. Like how good they are at the game doesn't really matter to me.
Right, and those are two different audiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's cool.
So since you knew T-Dog like beforehand, I'm sure your day-to-days, like, there is no day-to-day, really. It's just all over the place. Yeah. How involved are you, like, going and, like, getting new influencers or, like, new content creators?
So I don't want to give away all my secrets. I feel like I'm a very, like, low-key... I'm a huge lurker, right? But not only in chats, but in the community. I'm a lurker. Ooh, I'm a sneak.
That's a great word.
But really, like there's a lot to it, obviously, and I mean, so like when I don't even know how I want to talk about this. It's a lot of watching content and seeing what fits. I feel like the mold we have kind of created is like just the best ever. Like I just love our creators so much, but there's so much that goes into content as a content creator that you have to look for. The 3 C's. But no, I look at consistency, creativity. I forgot the 3rd C. There's no way. What is it? Content?
Yeah.
I look at consistency, creativity, and content, right? Like that's what I really pay attention to. I think being consistent as a creator is so important. You can take breaks, and I think you should. I think everybody should take breaks. But when you do that, be wary and cautious of how that break will affect your channel. And if they're not going to be there when you return, how do you get them back? I think content is so important. The first short form, the first second of the video is the most important second of the entire video. And that is, how are you drawing viewers in and then keeping them there for the rest of the video. So Mr. Beast, really good creator. And like, how does he keep his audience entertained? If you watch his videos, you'll hear like a boom sound in the first millisecond of his video. And he does that every video. And it's because it immediately draws your eyes to the screen and captures your attention. And I think creators that kind of realize that and learn that, you'll see it in their content, right? You're drawn in right away. And that's why. So just like staying creative and like, how can you enhance your content? If the game that you stream was going to like be out of business tomorrow, or like they shut it down, what are you doing? Like, think back to like the Fortnite Black Hole event. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yep. And I was a Fortnite player at the time, right? So I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the only place I get my viewers. How am I going to shift? And I remember I played like, do you know what that game is? Like Old Neighbor or something, like Bye Bye Neighbor.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
it called?
Is it
Hello Neighbor is what it's called.
Okay.
And it's like this creepy man in this house or something. And I remember I tried playing it, and it's a good game, and my stream did horrible. And like every game that I shifted to, I didn't do well. And now reflecting back on it, it's because like I hadn't been creative enough and consistent enough to keep a community around, no matter what game I'm playing, no matter what time I'm live, right? You see the creators that stream, like look at Kaylee, who streams she can stream at 2 a.m. or 5 p.m. at night, and her viewers are still going to be there and her community is still there. And that's because she's done such a good job at keeping the community around. And that's so important. So those are all some things I look for. But in terms of like the actual onboarding process, it's kind of complicated. I don't know if I want to give away.
You don't need
Things
to.
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
There's
have
a lot.
some.
There's a lot to it. But obviously, that's important.
And those are all very personal too. Like they'll differ from person
So
to
different.
person.
So
Yeah.
different.
And I'm sure you collaborate, you talk with certain people about
Oh
that,
my
and-
gosh, yeah, no, it's a team effort, and we're still growing. We're still so new, so there's so much to learn. But I think something that we really do well here and that we really value is once we bring a creator on, that creator's involved, right? Like we don't bring somebody on and then you never see them again. Like we just had a watch party the other week, and T-Dog and Brittany flew out and they were here for it. And, Doug came and spoke to a group of students, and it's just, they're going to events that we have, or we're going to events with them, and they feel close. Like Brittany, Tyler, and I went out to dinner for a seafood boil the other week, and he's still texting us in group chat being like, you guys, I can't, I have nightmares. I have nightmares because we're like 9 on the seafood and like sauce all over our face. Like we looked like animals, like freaks.
Right.
Yeah.
Like freaks.
There you
like,
go. Yeah, you look like freaks.
But we're so close and so tight knit, and that I think is really important. So that's something that I think we're doing really well.
Yeah, no, it definitely it feels like a family. You can tell just from the outside in.
But no, just coming back, it was funny because we were just off for a while there, and then there you are, like right in the moment, just doing your work.
Yeah.
It's never ending for you.
Yeah, no, there's no 9 to 5 in esports.
And do you like that about it?
No. Sometimes like I love my team, so it's like I don't like I could call Chris at like 11:30 and he'd be like, "What's up? What do you need?" So in that sense, it's like I'm never annoyed about working after 5 p.m. Like I love the people I work with. I love what we do. I love what we're creating. The hardest part about it, though, is separating work from my personal life. That's the hardest part, because like I realized a few weeks ago is when it like really hit me, where I was like, I live with my boyfriend and our dog, and I was like, I haven't asked you about your day in probably like a week or 2 weeks, and that like you feel so guilty, you know what I mean? And it's just everything I talk to him about is work related, even if it's not something that happened to me that day, because we're both in the gaming space. So much of our conversations are around gaming, and it makes it like so difficult to kind of detach from it. So anytime I can have like a day where like we're not competing and I can just like I'll schedule out whatever I need to the day before and then just like completely decompress is really helpful.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I can imagine like being on social media all the time as your job, and then you got to go and be away from it, and like you have to really detach, like get off your phone and not have like any input in that. But then you can't actually like enjoy social media for yourself. You know what I mean?
You're constantly thinking about ideas.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, like I noticed that for myself, even just like being on Twitter. Like I'm never on Twitter just casually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just not a thing. Every time I'm on, you know what I mean? No, don't be sorry. It's always like you're just always in the moment, like thinking of something to be doing on there. Like how can it relate to your work, you know? We were just saying about like that work. We'll bring you back.
Yeah.
That work-life separation. Like you can't just go on socials casually.
Right.
It's
No,
not-
at all now, because my socials they're all in gaming.
Yeah.
And like I don't use my high school Twitter. You know what I mean? Like I'm not keeping up with those freaks. No. It's literally it's always gaming. And even if because sometimes I'll want to go on just to like check in on like what are Brittany and T-Dog up to today, or like what are my friends in the space up to today. But then it always like I'll always see something that's like, oh, should we do something about this? Like, oh, like did we know about that update? Like, you know what I mean? And yeah, there's no separating it. So it can be really hard. But I feel like that's also what makes it special, because I'm so passionate about it, and it almost like feeds into the passion where like I'm always thinking, always creating or whatnot, even if I'm not technically on the clock. You know?
What do your friends think about this role? Like, do all your friends play video
That's such
games?
a good question. No, none of my friends game. I mean, my gaming friends game that I've made gaming, but my
Like your
IRL,
close friends,
Yeah, like
college, high school friends.
Yeah.
No, so they.
Your Cumbies friends you were mentioning before.
Yeah, my Cumbies friends. Shout out Allie. They're supportive. I mean, like I could join the circus tomorrow as like I don't know, a stilt walker, right? Like not circus shaming. No, I could do anything and they would be supportive. But it's definitely harder to explain. Like I feel like it can sometimes, and this isn't my friends, but more so like family or like my parents' coworkers or like their friends, like won't take it seriously, or in the sense of like, oh, you work with games, like, oh, like how long are you going to do that for? Like, you know what I mean? Like they don't understand. It's like, no, actually go look at my LinkedIn about the post that I shared from Major 2. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's so massive. I think Major 2 definitely kind of like worked it into reality for some of my friends. I had some friends come to Boston during Major 2 and they were like, this is insane. But it helps to, it's tough to explain, I think, to the older generation the most, for me personally. My parents, is the older generation the right word to use there?
Yeah.
My parents understand it. They think it's awesome. They've always been supportive, but their friends don't understand it. So it's like anytime I see them, they're like, how's gaming?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I was gonna ask, like, were your parents like supportive the whole time? Like you starting like streaming and then signing with like Facebook?
So kind of. I mean, when I started streaming, it was like more of a hobby, and they were supportive. And I think my first PC I got off like Amazon, like it was a very low grade PC, but it was still expensive to me. And at the time I was in college and they helped, like they paid for half of it for like a Christmas present or something. And so they've always been supportive, and like it is a hobby. But I don't think they ever really took it seriously as like something I could do for work until my Facebook deal. And they were like, what? Like that's a thing. Like people get paid to play games. And that really put it in perspective. And of course my boyfriend is like a very well-established YouTuber. So like when I started dating him, he was living in a like 4-bedroom home with his friend in Texas, the two of them. And they were like, huh? Like that was like a shock. Like they were like, how are his parents paying for that? And I'm like, no, like he is. And that was like a very big shock for them. But I think that the Facebook deal was like the first time where they were like, okay, we support you doing this because we see that you're succeeding in it. And now obviously they're like, this is awesome. Like have they met Danny? I don't know if they've my dad has talked to her on the phone. Like again, we're very close here. And they like love her and they love Murph and Adam and they think it's awesome. And they see obviously the success that Oxygen's had and they saw Major 2 and they think it's crazy. Like they're like, this is unreal. They have the same view on it as I do. But it definitely took them a little bit to get to that point. And same with my sister. My brother was always kind of for it because he always played games. He's like, this is sick. Like, go for it, sis. But my sister's very, like, she studies accounting. She's very, very smart. And she was like, well, like before Oxygen, like back when I was streaming myself, she's like, okay, but like, when do you give up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, she was like, how long are you actually going to do this for? And that was always kind of tough because I was like, I'm succeeding. But then once I started really getting like actual jobs in the industry, that's when it kind of clicked for her. Like, whoa, like this can be like really something you can do as a career.
Yeah, but that's when you actually get like a paycheck from it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like I know that's like a lot of like we're saying like the older generation, like my dad is 70.
Right.
You know, and like my mom's in her late 50s. Like
Yeah.
that's what they would think. They'd be like, oh, that's great. Like it's really cool that you're doing
Right.
that, but are you actually supporting yourself?
Right.
doing this
And
anymore? And that's all they care about. I think,
Yeah, and I
day.
think it's like it's out of a place of like we care about you. Like I know it's coming from like a genuine like nice place, but it's also like gaming is awesome. It's taking over the world and like soon enough people will see it. And so if they need time to see it, that's fine, but like I'm going to prove to you that this is something I can do as a career. And now obviously they see it and they think it's awesome, but it definitely took some time to get there.
Yeah, because Mike and I have talked like in the past with T-Dog. Most people when they think of gaming, they think of like, you know, you're a graphic designer, you're actually designing
video
the games.
games,
Yeah.
Right.
And then, you know,
Developers.
when you tell people that, they're like, oh yeah, that's really cool. That's like really cool that you're designing all this stuff and your name's, you know, on the credits. But when you talk about like competitive like esports or you know, working with content creators, a lot of people start questioning like, what are you actually doing?
You get paid to play games.
Yeah.
Is like what I hear a lot.
Yeah, all the time. So like my dad's big into racing. Like my whole family is. My dad's really into it. So when like we follow Formula One, right? And when you see that there's like a whole esport around F1, like the people who they're in like those simulators like that we have, here, right? And he's like, wait, why are these people wasting their time? Like, why don't they get in a car and drive? You know? But I'm like, man, that's so hard. Like, it's just it's different.
Yeah, it's tough to explain.
You know,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the thing. It's so hard for me to explain. I'm like, well, yeah, like you hope that's what maybe they'll do. Some people, but big thing I always say to him, I'm like, man, one of those rigs is like a few $1,000s, like not cheap, but heck of a lot cheaper than trying to race in a league, which is going to be 6 figures.
Right. Well, it's also like I feel like so many people undermine the talent that you need to have to be a competitive esports player. Like, nobody in this building that isn't a competitive esports player could go up against Beans in a 1v1 and get more than 1 kill. Like, it's just like you just couldn't. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like people think like, oh, it's so easy. Like, I'll just practice and then I'll be good. And it's like, no, like there's way more that goes into it. And there's schedules too. It's like, even if you were good, like follow a challenge, even just start with challengers. Like challenger schedules are insane. Like, I don't know if you've like how much they play, but their practice schedules are crazy. And it's like, sit and just like try and do that like one day and see how you feel after. And it's like, it's so much harder than people think.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, again, we play a decent amount, but we play nothing compared to that. Yeah. Like microscopic levels.
Yeah.
Like if we talk about a grind, like a day we really pushed, it's like, oh yeah, we're playing like 7 hours.
Yeah.
Like, that was a real grind.
Yeah.
For them, that's like man, that's a light day.
Yeah,
You know?
right,
It's
right.
like- and they're
No,
like,
and
oh,
I
yeah.
can't play more than 2 now. Like
Yeah.
I literally
Yeah.
can't.
And it's like for us, we'd be after a while, we're like, oh man, like gotta get some food. And they're like, yeah, try that 7 days a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Like 6-7 days a
Yeah.
week, just all day. And
Yeah.
it's not like you're screwing around with your boys.
Right.
Like, it's so
right.
intense.
You're communicating the entire time. Like you learn all the comms, and half the time these people are streaming it.
Yeah.
So it's like now factor in that you're entertaining an audience for 7 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially being a pro too, when you're practicing for that like 7-8 hour whatever, right? You have to be at a high level all the time.
Yeah.
And you know,
Alert.
yeah,
focused,
alert,
Yeah.
making sure that you're making the correct play,
Right.
doing everything right with your teammates. And a lot of people they don't think about that at all. They think
Yeah.
you just hop on, grab a controller, and play.
Right.
Like what I'm sure you get it. Like your friends, they're like, "Oh, Sammy, you're insane at video games."
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
My brother, really mainly, like he'll be like, "You're so good. Like you can carry me and my friends. Like you're like way better than like the average person. Like you're so like you could do that." And I'm like, "Okay, play with Kremp for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You think I'm
Yeah.
good?
Yeah.
Like okay,
Yeah.
like
I remember it was like that with my brother too, because my brother doesn't game at all. We used to game when we were kids all the time, but
Yeah.
he's totally like abandoned it. And it's the same thing. Like I remember he watched me play, and he showed me. No, I showed him my controller, like a scuff, and he's like, "Dude, this is insane!" Like, and just thinking about those guys I watch him, he's like, "Bro, that can't be like you're not that far off that." Like trying to be encouraging.
yeah.
I'm like, yo, I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
I like to think I'm halfway good at the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, but any of these guys who are like trash,
Yeah.
they would put me in a blender.
No,
Like,
literally,
I wouldn't
like-
even. I would probably cry.
I would just spawn,
that Monster
die
thing.
the entire game.
You
Yeah.
ever see that meme like with that girl? I can't remember her name from the show.
Boo.
Yeah,
Boo,
yeah,
yeah.
And they people edited it where she's got the headset on, she's crying.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that would- that
That's
would be-
yeah. That's me in a regular
Yeah.
lobby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had it at the watch party. I think it was Chris was talking about it
Mm-hmm.
when he went and played those guys. Like those are local people that are going to show up.
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah, man, I thought I'd be like."
No,
alright."
they
And he's
fully
like,
thought they'd
yeah,
win.
yeah,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
we were talking about. We're
They're like, dude, these guys are
Crush
they're
it.
like local guys, you know?
Yeah.
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 And he got
no.
smoked. He's like,
Smoked.
he's like, bro.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
these guys, like, I mean, obviously the guys that were won it, they were all former pros.
Right.
He's like, think those guys got slammed by them. It's just like a
Yeah.
tier of
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
how good.
crazy.
He's like,
it's crazy.
yeah, like I watch those guys like Kremp and everything that they do, and when you see it live or like just watching it
Yeah.
online, you're like that's crazy. But the plays themselves, they're not insane. What's insane to me is that they're doing it against other professionals.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
It's like
right.
we've done that, but against hamsters.
Yeah.
Right, well,
I mean,
did you
yeah.
see the one before the other day?
Yeah.
Oh,
What
with the
was that?
BZ.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like if you actually think about that one before and
Yeah.
like how, because like at first glance you're like, oh, cool, one before, but it's like no, think about who he was against and who he killed and what he was doing in the match and like everything that went into it, like insane.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
insane.
yeah, he's in a was it elimination finals or it was like one of the elimination matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like big deal match. Pretty much the
Yeah,
whole,
live audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole series is riding on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
lose that round, like they're chalked.
Yeah.
That's the one
Yeah.
thing I think like I mean not the one thing, but like that in itself, like I already get enough anxiety when I'm the last person alive and just a pub S&D match. Like
Right.
I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
imagine the
Yeah.
pressure. It's like when you're like doing something like did you ever have those days in gym when you're a kid where it's like everybody cross on the rope to the other mat and like you can't touch the ground? Like did you ever do stuff like that?
The pacer.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. But it's like you're
Yeah.
the
Pacer,
one
yeah.
person. Yeah, it's like I remember one time, literally, it like scarred me for life. Everybody had to cross from one mat to the other on the rope swing, and you couldn't touch the ground. I was the last one. If one person fell, everybody went back. I was the last one. I fell.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like I still remember it.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah.
where I was. I remember what the gym looked like.
Right.
Like this, I was in the 4th grade. And it scarred me for life. Like now, imagine that on a stage in front of 20,000 people,
Yeah.
and streamed to 100,000, and like you're the last one alive. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a real taste of it when we played in Cold War. We matched up against a BZ in Arcides. They just look like they're cheating the whole time.
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
We were just watching the kill cam. We're like, they're
That's
just
wild that you got in their match too.
Yeah,
That's
we
cool.
couldn't believe
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We were like,
You-
we were fangirling. Like,
Yeah. Oh
you,
my gosh.
you assassinated Arcides, and
Yeah, I
then
couldn't believe
Did
it.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did you
I did.
record it?
I have it.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
have it,
There you
yeah.
go.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
Abizi was like, these guys low key not that bad. I was like, oh
I
my
could,
god.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but-
there you go.
But the thing is, though, to think about it, like he's saying that, but this dude has his feet up, kicking it, just like having a drink.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
He's laying
Yeah.
vertical in bed, like I
Yeah,
used to.
yeah.
legit.
He's
He's laying down with his feet up in the air,
Yeah.
just annihilating us.
Yeah.
And me and him, like, our backs are
Yeah.
broken. We're just
Yeah.
like, in our screens trying so
Yeah.
hard.
Your eyes
right?
are like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, peeled. We're like, are we 2v2s and we're calming, like we're on. And we're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
That's
One
so
kill.
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm like, dude, these guys again. You think about it, they have 2 other people and they
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
try. Yeah, that would be hard.
We played against world champions and we
legit
got
world
There you go.
destroyed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they smoked us every time. No,
Yeah.
we beat them one time because they had a
That-
guy on their team that was far worse than us.
It was a 3v2.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they couldn't dig out of that.
Yeah.
But no, it's crazy. Even seeing them now, like they play. You don't play much rank, do you, in Call of Duty?
No, Brittany plays on my account though.
Yeah, yeah. You have to ask her because I'm curious if she experiences it because a lot of these guys when they stream, it's just like hackers all the time.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We don't experience this because we play against like high diamond into crimson, so it's not. I don't know. There's not many people that do it, but when you get into like the iridescent,
Yeah.
top 250,
Yeah.
It's
I've heard
insane.
it's like hacker central.
yeah,
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't want to play it anymore. They're just like, screw
Yeah.
it.
No, I don't like
Yeah.
Why
that.
bother?
That stinks.
Yeah. Maybe we don't try to get to iridescent.
Yeah.
if we get there, yeah, I saw it was from Dashy. He was just like first game on. He's just like, yeah, here we go, 4-stack hacks. I'm like, do you just see the blatant hacks? It's like, dude,
Yeah.
you know,
I don't get how people enjoy that.
yeah,
No, I don't
Hacking
get
a
it
video
either.
game.
Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you
Like,
doing?
For your account to get banned?
yeah,
Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, what's the best thing that's gonna happen?
yeah.
You're gonna get into a lobby with pros and they're gonna rage quit and like not want to play anymore. Like, wow, good job. Like,
Yeah,
what are
exactly.
you getting out of
But yeah,
it?
what's your
Yeah.
goal with that? Trying to
Right.
hack?
Yeah.
You can't like tweet it because everybody can tell that you're hacking. So it's like, what?
Yeah.
Literally, what are you getting out of it?
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. But now you're saying you game a little bit though, which is good. How much do you think you game? Like you talk about that separation. Do you try to game every
Not a
day
lot.
or not much?
No, if I ever do, it's likely on the weekends. Like I played Apex yesterday, and I played for maybe an hour and a half. So maybe like once a week or twice a week, but never for more than 2 hours at a time, unless I'm like playing with friends that like I'm catching up with or something. Apex is my go-to. It stinks though because I like watch Call of Duty. I watch Brittany, Tyler, Joe Woe. I watch a lot. And like Warzone streamers. I love watching like Chrissy and Natasha. And they make it look so fun because they're all so good. And then I get on. Like I'll play like one game of Warzone. I'll like update it, right? It takes like 30 minutes to update. And then I play one game and I'm like, no, like, why am I doing this right now? Like, I'm so bad. But I used to, when Rebirth was out and it was Warzone 1, like, I would sit and play that for hours. Like, I was, last year, like, I would game all the time, Apex a lot. I used to grind Apex ranked. But now that I work in gaming, like, so heavily, like, I'm so heavily involved, I'm either, like, always working, or like if I'm like finally like done working, like I'm still like browsing my phone. Like I just like don't want to get on my computer. Or yeah, I'm just like I'll get on for an hour and then I'm just like, this is just I can't do it. Because it's also like I watch these people that are so good and I'm like, why? Why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
So would you consider like gaming now? Like it used to be your hobby, but now it's
Yeah, it's a way to catch up with friends now,
Yeah.
I think. I still love it. Like I love gaming. I think once the like weather gets nicer too and like it starts getting warmer and I can sit with the window open, like there's a lot of factors that play into it. Like right now it's like been raining all week and I don't want to sit at my computer. Like I'll just watch TV and sit with my dog. I think if I like had more people to play with, I would play more too. But like a lot of the friends that I made gaming either don't game anymore or play different games or like are on during the day. And I just can't do that. But I'm also really strict with my screen time. Like I'm like a 5-year-old kid where I'm like, I can't have screen time after 8 o'clock. Like I'm literally like that because during COVID, I developed really bad sleep habits. Like my sleep schedule was chalked. I was going to bed at 5 a.m. Like, because I didn't have to be up. I didn't have to be up for anything. And then it created this really bad sleep anxiety where like if I wasn't asleep by 2 a.m., like I would have panic attacks and I wouldn't sleep all night. And this would happen like every night. So like I literally just wasn't sleeping. And like everything would be fine. Like there would be nothing for me to be anxious about. Like I had nothing to be up for the next day, and I still would like full blown like panic attacks, like screaming, like I can't sleep. Like I would get so bad. Like my boyfriend would like laugh at me sometimes because he's like, "You are like you're free. Why? Why are you freaking out?" I'm like, "I can't sleep." Like it was like it's so embarrassing, but it's okay. Like people go through it. But now I'm like I won't let myself go on the computer after like 8:30 because it wakes me up too much.
What's your like screen time then? Your limit?
There's no limit as long as I'm off by 8:30.
Okay.
And what
gotcha.
time? What time you go to bed by? You're like, yeah, we're done. Like phone's plugged in.
Oh, I'm in bed by 10 every night.
By 10?
For sure. Unless I'm like entertaining. Like if like my friend came and stayed with us recently and like I went to bed at like 11.
Okay.
But it was a weekend.
Yeah.
I'm easy going, you know what I mean? But no, weeknights, when I have to come here, I'm likely in bed at 9 p.m. on Mondays because I'm like, I need to get this much hours sleep because I'm getting up at 5 a.m. And then like I'll count the hours.
Right.
Like,
Oh, I'm like that too.
yeah, no, I'm crazy.
So you go to bed 9, like today you say.
Yeah.
You getting up tomorrow.
I know. What time is it?
What time?
Okay, it's only 7.
What time you getting up tomorrow?
Well,
you gotta like, part of your routine. Like you get up 5 a.m.
So if I'm coming here, I get up 5:30. If I'm working from home, I'm normally up by 7:30. But I think if I didn't have a dog, I'd probably be up later. But she wakes me up now. So she's in a whining phase. It's very new, where she is like crying in her crate. Last night we actually let her sleep with the crate door open, but then she's like next to the bed and she makes this weird noise. It's not even like crying. She's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, get out. And I'll like pet her and then she's like, and she like walks away and then it's like I fall back asleep 20 minutes later. Ooh, ooh. She's so weird. So I have to get up with her now. But if I didn't have her, I'd probably be sleeping. Like when I started here, I feel like I slept till like 8:45, give myself like a half hour to get ready for my first meeting. But now it's like 2 hours before my first meeting. Yeah,
it's just all part of like your balance, like trying to get like an actual schedule.
Yeah,
in life that seems like it's
and I like
insane to actually do it.
Awake. Like I like to be awake and like have like sat down, answered any emails I need to answer, like plan out my day before I get on my first call. Like that's super helpful. Like when I come in here, I'm like likely one of the first ones in the office, and I'll like sit down. I write a to-do list of like what I need to do that day, answer any emails, and then like collaborate with people. So then it's like I'm set, I'm ready for the day. I know what I need to get done. I'm very like type A organized with that stuff.
You really want structure.
Yes. And it's important to create structure in esports because esports is like insane. Everybody's everywhere all at once. So it helps. It helps with that.
It probably also the burnout too. It's like know, like when people start asking like outside of your schedule, you're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I have to do today.
Right.
And you get that choice. Like if I want to do that, it's extra. Like, do I have time for it?
So
I'm very type A too. Like I hate, nothing's worse waking up like later than you need to be.
Yeah.
And then you have a meeting. Like like within 15 minutes.
No, yeah. Oh my
scrambling.
gosh. And you're like half asleep. Like, no, I can't.
Yeah, and especially when you have to speak in the meeting too.
Yeah.
It's like you're tripping over words.
Yeah. I would do it with classes, like in college.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, like I'm rolling out 5 minutes before I'm in my pajamas in the class. But I could never do it with work.
Now in the pro world, it's like, I'm the same thing. People like my school starts so late. It starts at 8:55.
Nice.
That's when like my first class is. But there's people that roll in at like 8:45.
No.
I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah. What time do you get there?
6:45.
Ooh.
7.
That's rough. What time do you wake up?
6.
Okay.
He lives right.
That's tough.
Right near the
every
school, though.
day.
I live right
That's
near there.
nice.
Yeah, I
But
live
what time do you
late.
go to bed each night?
Ooh, 11:30.
Really?
12.
Oh my gosh, you're only getting 6 hours of sleep?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
No, I'm like, I need 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like, don't speak to me if I don't get my 8 hours.
It's very odd though. Like some days, like I mean, most of the time we try to go to 11. Like we'll try to end on a dub at 11.
Yeah.
But
Try
then we
it.
Okay.
lose at 11 and we're like,
One more?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, there's no words. We're just like loaded.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh my
Justin
gosh.
knows
So
I
you
know.
literally grind ranked every night.
Yeah.
Yeah, every night.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you have 2 others that you play with?
No,
No,
it's just
it's
those
just
two.
us.
Ah,
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I would lose my mind.
Oh no, it's
No.
we can do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's so fun though. I'm almost jealous because like
You can join.
when I grind. No,
We
you'll regret that. When I grind,
We play one game.
yeah, you're like, oh, sorry,
it's like-
Sammy.
We gotta log off.
Yeah,
Did
we're
you say you
getting
go to
off.
11? God.
I know you log off and then I see it like later, like you're loading back up. I'm like, wow, okay. I've played with my 2 friends, Lone and Emma. Shout out Lone and Emma. And we would grind Apex ranked like all day. Like literally the best days were Sundays because Emma was off work and she's EU. So she's ahead of us. So we could only do it to like a certain hour. But like up at 10 a.m., we're grinding all day. And it was so fun. Like I loved having that because it's fun. Like, you know, like the ranked system in Apex and in COD is awesome. And it's so rewarding at times and also like the most frustrating thing ever. But I loved it.
Oh yeah, we get hyped.
Yeah.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
The next game, it's all gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
We just threw.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
we just choked so
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, it's definitely the highs and lows of it. But yeah, I mean, we go to bed like again probably tonight. Depending on when we get back, we'll probably play till 11. Might be a shorter night. But we'll play till like 11:30, and then I go right to bed. You know, that's usually what I do. Yeah, get up at 6 and then just do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
You know.
A big part of it, honestly, is because of the podcast. Like we
Yeah.
use it as like a commitment to like play ranked every day.
Yeah.
And because we're big, I don't want to speak for you, but like we don't like critics that much. And especially, you know how people, they'll play Call of Duty and they'll put a review out like a
2
week
days
later.
later.
Yeah.
We play literally every single day through the whole year. And then we believe that we have like a really good review. 'Cause
Right.
We
Yeah,
play
I agree.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Vanguard, it was miserable. Like
Really?
we hopped
Yeah.
Don't tell
on.
Brittany that.
Okay, ranked was fun. Pubs,
Ranked
this
was
is the
good.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pubs,
so she won't hate us.
Yeah.
Ranked in that game was really good. Good rank
Interesting.
system, but the pubs, you know, for the COD Casuals
Yeah.
was horrendous.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
one of the worst games ever. Just stuff that was never fixed, a complete broken mess.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a
It's
I feel like I've asked you if you have a favorite one.
favorite COD.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this in last episode 115. Go check it out if you haven't. Is we talked about the last 4 COD. There was a poll that came out, and people put Modern Warfare at the top.
2019?
Yeah,
That's my favorite.
yeah. I don't agree. I would say
Freak.
right.
Yeah.
That's our thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my thing.
I think speaking for both of us, right? Cold War.
Yeah, Cold War.
Oh,
In the last 4 years.
I was just going to say, that is my least favorite.
Wow.
Although sometimes I did play it like alone by myself, but I don't know. It was like the mechanics of it I didn't love.
I like that
Felt choppy.
Cold War was a like throwback to like the arcadey COD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which if
I
you
agree.
grew up playing those, like that's what that was to me.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays, like with the more recent ones, like with Vanguard, with MW,
Yeah.
I will still stay like, okay, MW 2019 is way down there for my CODs of all time. Okay. Hear me out though.
Okay.
I will say though, Modern Warfare 2019 changed the game forever.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of the most innovative CODs ever.
And it's so smooth, I thought, personally.
Well, I would have to go back and play it. I'd have to
Okay.
go back and play it because I played it on a PS4,
Okay.
not on a PC.
Okay.
You know, so like
Yeah.
even playing Vanguard on a PS4 was miserable compared to playing Vanguard on a PS5.
Yeah.
You know, it was so much better.
Yeah.
And Cold War, I'd like to go back and play the PS5 version because it probably felt really nice,
probably
but
way
we
better.
couldn't get them back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say though, like Vanguard. I mean, going off his point, right? I'm with him. I mean, I think I'm more tolerable of critics than him. But I'm on the same side too, though. Like people who will rate a game and then they have like 5 days of it played.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can you really give a
Right.
true view of this game?
Right.
Having played from the day it came out, pretty much every day, you know, absolutely every week of the game
Yeah.
being out.
Well, that's probably what's like, I can't imagine how frustrating it can be for developers, like on an update day where they've like worked so hard and it's like 2 minutes into the update being launched, people are like, this is shit. Like, it's just like, is it? Like, have you really tried it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
gonna be tough.
And like Vanguard, and like we won't go on a tangent about it, but there are things in that game that are still broken to this day.
Yeah.
And they never fixed it.
I actually really liked. I would go knifing on what was that small map that there was like always a playlist for it, and it was like it was just like
Oh, Shoot
Dot-
House, Das House.
Das House.
yes. And I would just go knifing on it
With like
I
all
would,
the,
I would
it was like
run
a,
around.
it had like all like the wood.
Yes,
like, plywood,
yeah. I would literally just run around knifing people, and like they would get so mad. I got a lot of hate for it whenever I played it by the randoms in the lobbies. But I literally would tell people that like, it's like a racing game because all you're controlling is your mechanics, and then
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah.
stabbing them. Like, like kind of toxic of me, but like I had so much fun doing it. It was so fun, and I did it. And then I remember one time I actually had a really good experience in Search and Destroy on it, where I like just fried like I remember guys in the lobby being like, bro, this chick is insane. And I'm like, yeah, that's right.
You're like, heck yeah.
So-
That's right.
That's a good transition right there. Speaking
Oh,
of
boy.
that, because I want to get this question out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the esports space is very dominated by males.
Yeah.
How is it being like a female in this space, playing video games and also being a professional?
Yeah, it's tough. Right now, professionally, I feel like I've been very lucky in my experience where I have really not experienced any discrimination, at least obviously where I am now, obviously. But even like when I was working with Facebook and like when I was at my media job, I was the only girl at the entire company. And I felt like my coworkers really empowered me. Like they all took me very seriously, and they thought I was very intelligent and just like a boss. And I really appreciated that. And I get that same energy here, which is amazing. But in gaming itself, it's tough. From like as young as I remember, I would pretend if I ever had to use voice chat, I'd pretend to be a boy, just simply to avoid harassment. And I think I was like probably 10 at the time where I started doing that. And like if you look back on it, like that's so sad. Like I was a 10-year-old girl pretending to be a boy because of how like probably grown men at the time were treating me. And I was so innocent and like just didn't understand at all like why are they so mean to me? Like what? And then obviously as I grew up, I learned that it was just the stigma I got from being a woman in the gaming space, which is really tough. And yeah, that's the hardest part. It's just not being taken seriously. Like I know I could go into a game and absolutely dominate and destroy some men at the game that they believe is their craft. But I'll never get that respect from everyone. And that stinks. And I feel like women have to work a lot harder to prove themselves in the industry than men do, which again stinks. Like I've had friends who have been successful and like the comments they get are like, well, that's only happening because you're pretty. Like they don't actually think that you're like a good streamer. And it's just like, no, like you are an awesome streamer and you being beautiful is just like good for you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it has nothing to do with it. And that can be so frustrating. Esports wise, I really haven't I feel like every male that I've come across, granted, I'm not a player, so I can't speak for women that compete in esports, but I've had a fine experience. But it's just the like gaming in general where I've really experienced the discrimination. Just like in public lobbies. And even now, like I find myself like if I like need to push to talk something, I'm like, over there, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And that's like, it's funny, but like to a point where it's also like, that's so messed up that I even like feel like I have to do that. But I think, again, like I think my positive experience in esports is a sign that like we really are moving in the right direction and women really are starting to be taken seriously in gaming and competitive play in general. And I've met like all of the women I've met in esports are so awesome. And I think it's because we probably have all collectively gone through some sort of discrimination in gaming. But they're just like from every team. I don't care if they're from Optic or Rocker or any, like, you know what I mean? Like any competing team, like they're all so awesome and so supportive of one another. And I think that's just like another sign of like, we are not only are women in general working to break that stigma and break the barriers, but like the women in esports are really coming together to show people like what we have to offer and how awesome we are. And I think we're definitely on the track to the right. We're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Breaking those barriers for sure.
No, 100%. I mean, and obviously too, like you guys being in the minority, like you had mentioned before, you have like that similar relationship.
Yeah.
It's something that like binds you guys all together.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's like I think every woman I've followed on Twitter that's in esports has followed me back right away. You know what I mean? Like, and that just goes to show it's like we're all like I see like, oh, you work in esports, like cool, I'm following you. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like we're all in this together.
It's like
really.
a collective head nod.
Yeah, it's a sorority. We're sorority.
You're just like
Yeah. We like
you know.
I got you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
You know, like it's tough. It like I went to school in education. All of my classes were all women. Like it's such a female dominated industry, education. So it's like I literally did a 180. Like I went from a female dominated industry to a male dominated industry.
Right.
And it was something like I don't know, like I was never prepared for it. Like I've had bosses that are males and teaching and stuff like that, but like it's like but all of my coworkers were women, or like there's so many women, and like it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But now it's like not only do I notice it, but if I don't notice it, somebody notices it for me. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, oh, that's true. Like, yeah, I am the only girl here or something. You know what I mean? And it's definitely different.
Yeah, I think a really big thing that I'm really happy to see is that women are not just getting involved in one facet of esports.
Right.
You know, it's like all throughout esports.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting involved in every aspect
Yeah.
of it, you know,
Yeah.
to just help like show people that's like, look, it's not just one thing that, you know,
Right.
people think that they're really good at. It's like you can do everything in esports.
Right.
It
Oh
does
my
not
gosh.
matter,
Partnerships, marketing, player relations, like influencer, like there's so much.
And we mentioned it a while ago. Was Alley Cat being one of the commentators for the CDL, and then she's also an organizer. Can you remind me the name of the league that she's doing? It's the women's
WXC.
Yeah, WXC for the Women's COD League.
Yeah.
Which is that's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I love her. She's awesome, and we have been talking to her about it, and like it's just so, because like you watch these leagues and you think like, well, what about us? Like I play this game, like I want to do this, but there's no opportunities really for me to do it at this level. And she clearly saw that and saw, you know, she had a platform, or has a platform, and has connections, and built this for girls to be able to experience that same stage and that same level of competing. And like it's so cool to see it play out, and like how successful it's been, and just like how supportive people are of it. It's incredible. I love her. She's cool.
Yeah, I think that's what's so unique about esports too. You know, like we talked about a while about the major. Like it's just something that brings people together. I feel like in esports, like in actual esports, not in gaming, but in it, there's like everyone's so accepting of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. It's like just the fact that we all have something that we're united on, which is playing games.
Right.
People love that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and you definitely get that when you go to an event. So like for example, Major 2, like everybody there was to watch like Call of Duty.
Right.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Because everyone was just happy. I didn't see a single person that was like upset. I mean, obviously we were when Boston lost.
Except for me on the floor. Yeah. Me on the floor
Yeah.
before everybody came in. Just like freaking out.
But it's awesome to see, because if you go to like traditional sports, it's not like that at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what makes it so different.
Yeah.
You know, because like, I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. I'm like not at all a big sports person. You know, like the whole Bruins thing that happened yesterday.
That was sad.
You know, yeah. I mean, I had people at work that like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear anything about it.
Yeah, and you're like,
And for
what?
me,
That happened
I
to me
knew what
today.
happened. I knew what happened about it, and I was just like, damn, that sucks.
See, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but I was in a call today, and I don't know who, Chris probably, and he's like, bees last night, blah, blah, and then everybody's like chiming in, and I'm just like, this is something I'm gathering, like, okay, something not
Something-
great, hockey, got it, not going to comment. Like, you know what I mean?
And even if I was there, like big Bruins people would be like freaking out, and then like you and me would be there just being like,
Yeah, like-
oh wow, it sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
Nobody-
juicy, like, what's going on?
Nobody at the major, like when Boston got knocked out, no one was like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
Everyone was collectively on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hands in their heads, like, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All devastated. When they won, same thing. Everyone's like,
Right.
oh, nice, dude. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I will say I feel like Boston's one of the exceptions in that, where it's like, yeah, some people don't know what's going on in a sports game, but like with Boston, I feel like it's so diehard. Where it's like if you go to a Red Sox game, like you're all singing, like, you know what I mean? Like you're all cheering, you all know what's going on most of the time. Or like 90% of the people. So I think that's like what made the major here even more special, because we're like bringing that fan base to Call of Duty. So now it's a niche audience, but also the die-hard community of Boston. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that must have been a huge thing for you, having to actually be part of that major.
Oh, yeah.
Was it horrifying? Like, when
Oh,
you got
yeah.
there,
Well, so it was literally, I started part-time in October, but I went full-time in December. And so that was like, what, not even a month, like late December. So it was like not even a month away was the major. So it was like all hands on deck. I think there were like 16 of us. And oh my gosh, I didn't even know what a Call of Duty major was when I started. You know what I mean? So it was horrifying. I was in charge of ticketing and credentials, which is, again, horrifying. Like names, so I still remember, like they'll be talking about like a friend of a friend of a friend, and I'm like, oh, like naming like the family, like the entire, because I remember it's like burned in my brain. But it was, I feel like in a way, the best way to start, because you're working around the clock to plan this incredible event, but you're also like getting to know everybody on the team so much. Like I would wake up, I'm calling Brett, I'm like, Brett, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. Like we're just freaking out. And then to go there, I was there all week. And like, you know, like call time, like we're there at 7 a.m. I'm like going through the badges. We're like setting up the chairs and folding the towels. But we're there until, 10 p.m. at night every single day. And we're succeeding. Like we're seeing the face on the fans. And like, that's who we're doing it for. You know what I mean? Like you see everybody leaving happy and smiling and then lining up in the negative 10-degree weather the next day to be there 2 hours before it starts, because they're that excited, because they're having that much fun. And you're like, this was all worth it. Like the sleepless nights, the chugging energy drinks before the door opens and shoveling french fries in my mouth at 10 a.m. Like it's worth it, because we're creating this experience for these people that they're never going to forget. And we're never going to forget it either. Like I was on first name basis with those security guards that worked at MGM, and like we're friends. Like I'm learning about their families. Like, what are you doing next weekend? Like, you know what I mean? Like we're talking about their relationship but like that's because we're there with them like every single day in and day out, and they were awesome. And like we really, I think, like truly, yes, we have an amazing staff, and that made it so special. But I also think like we truly lucked out with how incredible the venue was, and the venue staff, and Esports Engine and Call of Duty League. Like it collectively, like we are in this together. Like if something goes wrong, it's not on one person. Everybody's diving in to fix it. And like it ran so smoothly that yeah, it was terrifying, but so rewarding and so awesome, and definitely the best way to start, because now like my coworkers are all my brothers, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next major.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not during negative 10 degrees.
I
Which,
know.
by the way, if I saw a lot of people saying like, I'm never coming back to the city ever again, it's this cold. I'm like, that's never happened before.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
No, hello, like Brittany's from Texas. We had Joe Woe come from North Carolina, and he kept being like, how warm's it going to be? How warm? And I'm like, a light jacket. I'm like, oh my gosh, but Boston public schools are canceled. Like, I'm like, he's never going to speak to me again. Like, you know what I mean? Like and it was also during I don't know, I think it was an ice storm in Texas. So it's like, not only are we in negative degree temperatures, but all of the teams that reside in Texas are currently stuck at the airport and cannot come. And like there were teams being like, we're driving 7 hours down to this airport. Like it was literally like a mad rush to get to Boston. And then like once they get through all of that, now they like can't go outside without their boogers freezing. Like it was horrible. But I also feel like it was like so like I wouldn't want it any other way. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy, but so memorable, and like that made it so much better. You know?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it added to it.
we'll always remember that.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good memories.
Yeah.
And that's where we met a lot of people from OXG too. Like,
Yeah.
That open bar, like VIP party.
Yeah.
With the flank they were there
Yeah.
too. Like it was so cool just seeing everybody.
Yeah.
That's where we first met Chris, and like it was so weird, like seeing
Thing
him.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
No,
you
it
expect him to be so tall?
No.
No.
Yeah. No.
No.
Me neither.
No.
No idea. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of these guys. Like even Tyler, I was surprised by T-Dog. I was like, whoa.
So tall.
He's tall.
Well, there's so
Yeah.
many.
You know?
So
Yeah.
many people are tall. Bobby
Yeah.
Poff.
Yeah.
I'm like, hello? Like,
Oh, we
why is
were-
everybody so tall?
we were eating breakfast, and Tack Rav was sitting
Oh my-
next
Oh my
to us.
god, he's so
And
tall.
we were
I
like,
know. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the same thing. It was so strange.
Yeah. I remember I met him and he's like, oh, I'm Tack Rab. And I'm like, Tack Rab? Like, I like didn't know. I was like, that Tack Rab? Tack Rab? That was another thing that's like checking in the players and they're giving their, like gamer tag.
Mhm.
And I'm like, but I like, what's your name? Like, I can't type it in. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know your full
Yeah.
name. I'm
Right.
sorry. Like, but yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it was memorable for all that stuff. I mean, it was just really cool, like for us because we'd been to the New York major, but I feel like this one too. There were a lot more personalities that were there.
Yeah.
So it's just so strange actually seeing these people, you know, in the
Yeah.
flesh and like talking to them.
Right.
You know,
Our
you're
home
like-
state,
Yeah, exactly.
home turf.
Yeah. Now that for us is just obviously so memorable.
Mhm.
Like it's only a half-hour drive, 45
Yeah.
minutes.
Nice.
You know, so it's weird in that case. We're like, we're gonna go see the people that we watch all the time.
Yeah.
And they're in our spot. We're like, yo, we can like if we wanted to go home. You know, like we don't have to go and take like a train and like
Yeah.
it's like some whole like vacation for us. You know,
Right.
But yeah, overall, like that major, I mean, it was amazing. It was. I think you guys did. I couldn't have done a better job with it.
Thank you.
You know. I mean, that's got to be cool for you too to think that like you're part of something that affected thousands of people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You know,
Well,
like they'll never forget it.
it's like something that really doesn't hit you until like you're in it, right? Like you're like sitting up top and like overlooking the stadium and it's just full. I had my brother come and he was like, this is the best. And he was sitting there alone. Like he went completely by himself. He's sitting there alone. And he's like texting me, like I'm like in the middle of stuff, and I'm like getting texts. He's like, "No way! Like, Celium just did this, it's crazy." And I'm like, "Okay, like glad you're having fun." And then, like after, and he's like comes up to me, he's like, "That was so crazy! Like, go breach, back to Arnold!" like messing around, but he like actually was so excited. And then I remember he went home and he downloaded multiplayer, like he hadn't had it yet, and he was like, "Oh my god, I'm so bad!" Like he was like, "They make it look so easy. I'm so bad. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't play." Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool. Really cool experience.
That's so awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Like, just reactions like that because
right.
like Mike and I mean, we'll sit together and watch like the qualifiers and stuff. or
Yeah.
whatever. And like our friends, they don't play video games at all. But one of our buddies, like he sat and watched a major with us. like,
Yeah.
not in person, but he could see like the excitement. And, like, just
Yeah.
about
Oh
the
my
bus.
gosh, it's insane.
Oh yeah, because like again with me, I'm like we're watching football and I'm just like on my phone. I'm like, oh, that's dope.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But then with this, I'm like, yo, check this check.
And I feel like with people, especially when you're at one of the majors, like you get so much more into it when it's like a hard point, right? Like there were some really close hard
Yeah.
points at major too, and it's like everybody's like, "Oh, ah,
Yeah.
ah," and like
Yeah.
you're like,
yeah.
you're
yeah.
like freaking out, but like whereas like you're home, like yeah, this is awesome, but you're not like maybe you are. I don't know. I'm not. I'm just like shit. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I don't know if you can swear.
You can swear. You're fine.
But like it made it so much more intense, and like that like really brought my love out for like competitive Call of Duty, like how fun it is to watch with other people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we were bummed because we wanted to get him to come to that major.
Your
but-
friend, yeah.
Yeah, and he couldn't come. And we're like, dude, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, because don't worry, we're not sitting on the couch. We're like, ah!
yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
On occasion. If there's
No, I occasionally do. Yeah,
You know?
my boyfriend will like run and be like, "What's wrong?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Nothing."
like when Boston went 3-0 to Optic off the rip, yeah, that was like unheard of.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we ain't
Yeah.
screaming like that. You know, everyone's jumping around, hugging.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fingers
yeah.
are getting flipped towards Optic.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
yup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so awesome.
No, it was.
so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like Justin had said, I can't wait for the next one. You know, just I wish like those honestly are the best. I think they're just the best string of days that we ever have is when you get to just eat, breathe, and sleep COD. and we don't have to really worry about it, you know? Like we
Yeah.
just wake up, we're like, yeah, let's get some breakfast.
Yeah.
Let's go do it, you know?
That was the best part, just waking up every day, just knowing we could do this for the next 3 days.
I'm
And
like,
this is
"Is there-
all we do.
Yeah, I'm like, can we get paid to just be spectators?
Imagine.
Every single
Oh my
day.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that routine, waking up, getting coffee. All right, we're just sitting and watching Call of Duty all day. We don't need to hop in ranked and feel stressed out the whole time.
Yeah.
We're not competing. We're just having fun.
Yeah, we can all just watch these guys stress
Yeah.
out and
Yeah.
feel so bad for them. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to like the being a female like in the industry to
Yeah.
wrap this all up, right? Because
Let's hear it.
I need to ask like this question because
Okay.
Here.
I'm scared.
there are a lot of females out there that don't like when their significant other plays
Okay.
video games.
Okay.
How do you feel about
Oh my gosh.
that?
Well, that's how I met my boyfriend. Obviously, we met actually. Like he's give him some credit. I would definitely not be working in gaming if it weren't for him. So I really got back into gaming in college when I started playing Fortnite. Like when Fortnite blew up. And that's how I learned about like Twitch and streaming. Like I had no idea that was a thing. So I started playing Fortnite and then I just YouTubed Fortnite. Like that's what I YouTube search. Like how lame now, you know.
That's very old generation.
Fortnite. Like, I mean, like, now it's like you'll get like game trailers from like Epic Games now. But back then it was like so new. And I think the first video I watched was probably, I'm sure, Ninja, right? And I was watching Ninja and Tim like every morning. Like I'd wake up, Tim would be live and I'd watch him. And that's like how I learned about streaming. And then but I never chatted. Like obviously like at that time too, it's like he has so many viewers. I wouldn't chat. And then I went on YouTube and it was like in my recommended was a video from Pro Hennis, who's my boyfriend. And I clicked on it and I was like, oh, like this is like so like good. Like I do not have a good attention span. So like you could show me a video and like 20 seconds in, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just out. And I watched the whole thing, which is like really unheard of for me. Unless like I like care. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Watched the whole thing. And then later that day, creepy Google algorithm like figures out that I watched his YouTube video and he shows up on my recommended for Twitch. And I'm like, oh, that's the guy I was just watching. And he only like had like 150, 200 viewers at the time. I say only. That's a great number, by the way.
Yeah,
like I'm not saying I'm not doubting that. I followed him and I like saw the same people in chat, right? Like it's the same people in chat every day, and I'm like, wow, they're like really all friends. That's really cool. So I think my like Twitch name at the time was like my full name, like so lame, you know me, Samantha Kirk, just like typing, like doxing myself. And I like started chatting, and then over the pandemic we became friends, and fast forward, started dating, whatever. But now, like, so to think, like, the first person I ever chatted in their stream, I now live with and have a dog with, like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. So no, I think it's awesome. I think there's obviously balance to it, right? Like, there's times where I'm like, get the F off your game and watch our show with me, like, you know, but I think it's the same as if you were to have a boyfriend that played pickleball with his friends every night. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a hobby. It's something that they enjoy doing. Or if it's competitive, then that's awesome. But for most, the everyday Joe, it's a hobby, or Jill, because girls game too. Mm-hmm. And I think it's awesome. I think it's all about balance. Mm-hmm. Like, you could hate on, if he's playing video games for 8 hours a night and not paying attention to you whatsoever and not putting effort into your relationship, then I think like, okay, see ya, buddy. But I think most of the time, as long as they're also caring about the relationship, it's fine.
Yeah. No, I think the problem with gaming is the stigma that's around.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like you said, like if you were playing 8 hours of pickleball,
right?
Like people would rather that than 8 hours of gaming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, because every time, I mean, I get it. I know you do. Mm-hmm. They're like, gaming, you're wasting your time. Like, it's a total waste. Like, why are you sitting there playing a game?
I disagree.
You know, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
You're sitting and watching Netflix for 8 hours.
And I think like
that's the best comparison I
Right.
ever get.
Yeah.
Those people are the same that sit on the couch after work
Right.
and watch like Netflix for 3 hours. I mean, and again,
it's like, what are you doing? Studying?
yeah.
Like,
and again,
no.
for us,
Like,
it's like no shame. Like, you do you.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
100%. but don't come at somebody who's gaming for 3 hours
Right.
while you go and watch your favorite show for 3 hours.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think like it's not for anyone to judge anybody else's hobby, no matter what it be. I think a lot of the time gaming can be an outlet for people that deal, with stress and anxiety and depression, and like they get on the game and like they forget all of that. And just as somebody does if they go to work out or if they go to play pickleball, right? Like you can have any kind of outlet. And if it works for you, it works for you. And that's all that matters. And yes, if you're in a relationship, of course you need to value the person in the relationship, but you need to value them no matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter, the game. So no, I have no problem with my boyfriend gaming. I don't like to game with him because I have like a really hard time not blaming him every time we die. It's so weird. It's like I used to love it, like right, like gaming with him. I used to love it so much, and now I'm just like, why did you arrest me? Like I get so mad, and it's so weird. It's so weird. I literally can't game with him.
What about the game though? Like, does it depend on the game? Like, if you were playing, like I don't know, just a chill, like a mellow...
Minecraft maybe, like it's fine, right? But like no, like any battle royale, like.
What about like a single?
It's his fault.
It Takes Two.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
like
don't know. It
a
takes
single
two,
player
though.
co-op.
You can still die.
Yeah, you
right?
can.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that one. No, it literally has to be.
Yeah.
Literally. Okay, but like not because of it. Well, actually, probably. I'm sure I've blamed him for a death in Minecraft. No, it's so weird. I used to love it, but now it's like I think because like I started to get good at the games I was playing, so it's like because for a while. He wouldn't want to play with me. And I knew it was because I wasn't good. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'd really want to play with him as friends. And he'd be like, I don't know. Like, I think like we're going to play with the guys tonight. And I'd be like, why? Like, I can be one of the guys. But it's like, he's like finally, like, but then I started getting good, and then it's like, I started playing with him every night. And like, I'm like carrying the fuck out of them because I'm so good,
Right.
And then once I was really good, he was like, yeah, babe, like you just used to suck. Like it wasn't anything like I would have done it to anybody. Like if like our friend Ryan plays and he's really good as well. And he's like, if Ryan was playing like that, he's not on my squad. Like you just like, you couldn't keep up, but now you can keep up. So you can play with us. But like you struggled for a little bit. Like you weren't very good. So I think that hurt my ego a little bit. And now if I am playing with him and I die not because of him, it's because of him.
Yeah. No matter what
it's like you let me die.
Yeah.
But it can be frustrating too because like I grind Apex and he'll get on like for his like third time ever and he's like carrying me and I'm like, get off.
There's certain kids that we like. Again, we play all the time. What's that kid's name that we played with?
And COD?
Yeah, the young kid.
Menace?
Yeah, this kid. Okay,
He's out of control.
16?
Yeah, 16. Absolutely out of his mind. This kid barely plays though, right? Like when we haven't played him for a while, and I see like he doesn't play because he's in high school.
Yeah.
But when this kid hops on out of nowhere, he's just like, "Yo, you guys want to play?" And like, we're like, "Yeah, dude, let's run it." This kid will annihilate.
Yeah,
It's like
I envy those people.
It's like that kid
really
grinds all day. Like,
Yeah.
that's what you would imagine he does. But he probably just would hop on and he'd be at the top. Like, he's an insane.
Yeah.
He's an insane crack submachine gun player.
Yeah.
And even guys like I was playing with last night, it was yesterday in the afternoon. This kid, same thing. They asked me, they're like, "Yo, how old are you?" Gamer Mike, that's my name, Gamer Mike.
Gamer Mike. Okay, Gamer Mike.
Shout out, my mom made my name.
I love that.
And they're like, I'm like, "Oh, I'm 25," and they're like, "Oh, damn."
Yeah, you're old.
I'm like, "What you mean by that, son? Like, what are you talking about?" And the guy's like, he's like, "Oh, I'm 16." I'm like, "Bro, what?"
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like, "You're a child."
No, I
But
know.
same thing, like that kid, you could hear it in his voice, like he's so cracked all the time. He's just like, I'm like, "Yo, hold on, what are you saying?"
Yeah.
And he's insane.
Those kids are the most genuine because that guy that we played with, nicest kid ever. He's like asking us like different strategies, like how are we doing. He loves playing with us. He's like, "Man, Justin, every single time like I play with you guys, like we always win. When I'm playing alone, like I just lose. Like I need you guys."
I love that.
It's the premium gas too. Like I popped the 3-piece, like, "Gamer Mike."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, "I got you."
Yeah.
The hype, their connection was terrible, but that's beside the point.
I can't.
Yeah, no, it's It's really, really cool. I don't know how we got on that whole thing. Are we talking about, like the natural gaming?
Yeah.
drives me
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, I'm a pretty competitive person. So like
Yeah.
my girlfriend, she doesn't really game a lot. She plays
Yeah.
like her Switch and stuff.
Right.
But when we've gotten into Overcooked. Have you played that game? Or heard of that?
Yeah, it's like a
Overcooked.
cooking game, right?
Yeah, it's like you know, you need to build this burger. You
Yeah.
need bun, lettuce, patty, blah blah blah.
At Papa's Pizzeria.
Yeah, and like you need to
Literally.
deliver it in like a certain number of time, a time limit, and
Yeah.
there's like 1, 2, or 3 stars. Obviously, I'm trying to go for 3 stars.
Right.
And it's all time based, and you have to like multitask so much.
Yeah.
She's like stressed out. I'm like, Patty, fry it, play it.
Right.
She's like, I can't play this with you because you
Yeah.
get so competitive. And I'm like, we need 3 stars.
Well,
if
no,
we get 2, it's
literally.
over.
You're like, Poms.
literally even yesterday, Henry and I were playing Mario Kart, and I hadn't played it in so long, and then I was like, of course, it's like we're like 2 games in, and he like keeps getting first. I'm like in 8th place. Like I can't turn at all. I'm like just falling off the map, and I'm like, okay, like I'm good. And he's like, what? Like we just got on. Like we like this is so nostalgic. Like what do you mean? And I'm like, you're beating me. Like you're beating me, and I'm literally in 8th place. Like get out. Like go. I'll go play single player, please. And he's like, oh my god. Like I can't handle it. I'm too competitive.
Yeah, competitive nature follows anywhere. I didn't realize that
Yeah.
until it was like 2 weeks ago. I did Blook It. You know what that is?
Wait, yeah, I do. Why do I know what it is? What is it?
It's like it's a quiz that you can put together.
Okay, yeah.
And it's like timed, and whoever ends up like getting the most questions done the fastest time wins.
Okay.
And the kids had asked me, can I play with them? And I was like, yeah, screw it, let's go try. And I got 3rd, and I was tilted the
you're
whole
like,
day,
no,
the
like,
whole day,
yeah.
and it was guessing animals. That it was like, what is this animal? Like it was a baby version of the animal, and I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh, and
I'm
you
like,
couldn't get it?
I lost to them. Yeah.
Embarrassing.
No, it was. That was the
Yeah.
thing. I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm like, your brain isn't even developed, bro.
Yeah.
Kids are just too quick.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
they're cracked.
Yeah.
Cracked.
Yeah. Have you ever played the game Categories, the board game?
Yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah.
it's like a list of categories, and you roll a letter. So it'll be like a boy's name, like type of sandwich, and you have to answer each one, and it has to start with the letter that you rolled. And you're like timed, and then at the end, everybody goes through their answers, and like if you get the same thing, it doesn't count. Whatever. It's like, but it's like a categories game, and it's just like quick thinking.
Yeah.
And Henry won't even play with me anymore. Like that's what I'm good at. You know what I mean? Like you can beat me in a battle royale game any day, but when it comes to word games, get out of town.
Gets
like
cooked.
Yeah.
so he does it. He refuses to play it with me now. And we had a friend over the other day, and I'm like, oh, we have categories. She's like, oh yeah, let's play. And he's like, I'm gonna go in my office. No, sit down. Like I was like, you have to play it. It's very fun.
Yeah.
That's funny. But to wrap everything up, right? Do you have any tips for like other females trying to get into this industry or just like gaming in general?
Yeah, I think the biggest tip is like you just have to put yourself out there and go for it. You're never gonna get anywhere unless you try and just like see. But like also build up your experience, build up what you can do, right? Like any accomplishment you have, like keep a copy of it, right? Like it doesn't have to be a job for 6 months, but it can be like, I tried out this content series for myself or for a creator and it did this well, right? Like analytics, like anything you can have to prove your work ethic, keep it and like hold on to that stuff, right? Because like that is experience. And in gaming, like there's only so much experience you can go into a gaming job with, right? Like it's such a new industry. It really is. So hold on to everything you've done. I feel like a lot of people that are in content creation want to get involved in esports. And I think like you are in the perfect position to do that because content creation is experience, right? Like building up your brand is experience. Make connections, go to events, like talk to people, learn about what are they looking for? Like what could you do to prove that? And just try. Like you're not going to get anywhere if you don't try. Obviously, if you were to ask me a year ago, like I wasn't here a year ago. What month is it? May. I was directing Moana and like that's literally what I was doing a year ago. I was directing Moana and cleaning houses in my free time. And if you were to ask me if like in a year I'd be sitting here on a podcast talking about being a woman working in esports, like, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, be like, Apex? Like I would like have no idea. So it's literally all about just like trying your best, putting yourself out there, and just like, yeah, like work hard and you'll see results. And yeah, like just try, like just reach out to people, put yourself out there, and that's my advice.
I love it.
Be yourself.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Hard work always pays off.
It really does.
always
It really does. And it can be, and with gaming, like I feel like gaming is the industry where it's like flexible. It can literally be in anything, right? Like nobody in gaming is going to have experience in the industry, like working for gaming jobs for like over 7 years. Like you're not going to find that. You know what I mean? Like what jobs were there 7 years ago in gaming, except for like game developers and like maybe like very small marketing teams? Like, you know what I mean? It's such a new industry. I'm sure there's more jobs out there like 7 years ago, to be honest, but it's such a new industry, and you're responsible for building yourself up and building it up.
Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah. My last thing before we close out is, what's something that you hope to see in the gaming space in the future?
Ooh. Well, I feel like I can answer this like it's serious and fun. Serious, I think just more representation and acceptance of women. But fun, I don't know. I would love to see more like, because I'm thinking of like my influencers and like influencer marketing. Like, I think I'd love to see more influencer events that fans can go to, because it's like now we can go and see competitive players, but like I would love, because I don't know, you have TwitchCon and like stuff like that, but like I would love to go. Like I thought what they did with COD Next was really, really cool. Like I want more of that. You know what I mean? And obviously there's not going to be a new COD game every day or every month, but like what could you do with that maybe isn't only competitive? Like they're doing enough, right? Like the competitive players have a busy enough schedule, but like what could we do with the influencers in the space where like we're creating fun experiences like that for fans to go to? Because I think that would have been awesome if we could have gone to COD Next. You know what I mean? Like all those influencers were trying out the game for the first time. Mm-hmm. That would have been so cool to see in person, you know? So stuff like that I would like to see.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Lastly, do you have literally any questions for us?
Lastly.
Any questions for us? Yeah. This is it. Any questions for us? Anything you think we should be doing better? Tips, tricks for us? Anything?
I think you guys are doing incredible. Keep putting yourselves out there, because that's how I've built my connections. Like I feel like in a weird way what we do coincides with one another, right? Like we both do a lot of influencer outreach and relations and stuff like that. So putting yourself out there, because you guys are so awesome. Like I feel like you don't, this is like so cheesy to say, but I really feel like you don't know how great you are. And like you are. Like this podcast was so fun. You're so good at talking to people. You are. You're so good at talking to people.
Appreciate the gas.
Yeah.
And like you're doing such a good job. So
Thank you.
keep putting yourself out there. Yeah, my 3 C's, guys. Like come on. Like get that short form rolling. Like just like stuff that you can do to amplify yourselves. Like never stop trying new things. Yeah. Although I did hear recently like Reddit is a dangerous place, so be careful if you go on there. But like yeah.
Don't even.
Yeah, you're like,
stay away.
Nope.
Do you go on?
No.
I don't.
I go on to read about reality TV gossip. That's it. That's it. That's the brunt of mine.
Yeah, I don't. I go on there sometimes when I need a question answered about something, like totally, not gaming related at all.
Yeah.
Like how does a shoe fit? Like a certain one from a brand. Reddit might come in clutch.
Yeah.
But the Reddit COD community, I never go on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a bunch of those people who think that they work for a COD team, and I'm like, you don't.
We went on once. We do have the COD Casuals Reddit.
We do, but that's normal people.
we posted on the flank, I remember, before the Boston Breach was a team. And I think we said something about like, oh, Boston would be such a cool city and a cool team. And we got roasted.
Yeah.
And then we never went back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why would you roast that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
freaks.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There you go. On that note,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank
We
you for having
appreciate
me.
it.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Of course.
I was going to say, and the secret was this was actually our second time recording
Yes.
this
Yes.
episode.
We already know this person. Yeah, so we had a whole screw up.
These freaks made me come on twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't worry, she's well compensated. The check's in the mail.
Yep.
You know. So yeah, again, we thank you for coming for the second time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so again, we hope everybody listening has enjoyed episode 116 of the COD Casuals podcast. Again, we'll put her links in the bio as well, so you can go and make sure to follow her on all platforms as well as us. This is going to be on YouTube. YouTube COD Casuals. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe as well on Twitter COD Casuals. For all the platforms for listening to anchor.fm/COD Casuals. As well as we also are on TikTok now. We're on the short form grind, so be sure to go to TikTok as well, and the Instagram. So if you don't want to watch the whole episode, go check out the shorts there. That's where they're going to be. Okay?
Love it.
We good?
Yep.
All right.
We out.
We out. So this has been episode 116 of the COD Casuals podcast. We're your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
We will see you in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.
See ya.